welcome to Access Community Television. My name is Sid Tan, and today we're here with Melissa Fong. Welcome to the show, Melissa.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Melissa is a blogger. She's also a feminist, anti-racist writer and blogger with that, and she's an anti-gentrification exponent. Glad to have you here, and I've noticed that you've just gained a bit of notoriety lately, which is, people are learning about, the hashtag 25K lunch. And I just wonder if you could tell us a little about that.
Well, it all started with Bob Rennie, a condo marketer in Vancouver, the condo marketer in Vancouver, who hosted a lunch for Vision Vancouver and Mayor Gregor Robertson at $25,000 a seat. And that is a lot of money. And one of the common criticisms that came out of some of the discussions during the downtown Eastside local area plan was that there wasn't enough money to build social housing. But at $25,000 a seat for lunch, obviously there is money, and it's just not being put towards the correct priorities.
Some 50 people attended that lunch too, didn't they?
Yes, so if you do the calculations, if you multiply 50 times $25,000, I did the calculation, and that's about 278 people that could have been housed under welfare rates for a year.
Were there, when you saw the entries that came in for the meme contest for the lunch, was there anything that surprised you, or was there anything that you took away from that?
One of the fun things is that it brought it to a public forum. Memes are very accessible, done through social media. And so people who possibly wouldn't have engaged in politics before felt comfortable engaging in this forum. Also, I think a lot of people had a lot of frustration with politics and feeling disempowered and not feeling heard. And so this was their opportunity to sort of, let out that frustration.
Yeah. And the frustration was there because of the housing situation. There was, you mentioned very specifically at the local area planning process where you made a presentation that it was more of opportunity and it was not meant to be insulting against our mayor.
It definitely wasn't a personal affront from my point of view. I think that there is a lot of frustration out there, though, and especially amongst people who experience poverty and people who have been fighting for housing for so long. And they definitely took advantage of this political moment to have their voices heard, which is always a good thing.
So I have to ask you this, hot on the heels of the hashtag 25K lunch, I noticed that on your blog you have a piece up there, your blog, which is Passionate Rants, Never Dogmatic. You have a piece that starts with, once upon a time, there was a Vancouver mayor who promised he'd end homelessness. Right. I guess this, again, is not personal, but in fact, he ran that he would end homelessness.
Yes, so this was sort of inspired by a couple things. He did run on a platform to end homelessness, and during consultations about the downtown Eastside LAP, multiple people brought up that you want a campaign based on ending homelessness. I voted for you based on that good faith, and this hasn't happened. And recently, Gregor Robertson has announced his campaign for re-election, and he also took a step back on his promises about ending homelessness. And there's a Global News article talking about it, and it was just interesting the way Gregor positioned it as a province problem, that the province is not putting enough money in.
And then the federal government.
And the federal government. And then Rich Coleman pipes up and says, I've never heard anything like this from Gregor. My conversations with him, he's never said anything that he's unhappy. So it was kind of like pointing fingers, and I wanted a way to talk about that. I felt like nobody was talking about that after that article came out, and I wanted a way to talk about that in an entertaining way. And so I wrote that in sort of one draft, and it got a lot of attention because it's an entertaining way to enter this conversation.
You're a very prolific writer, but beyond writing on blogs and all that, you're actually studying, or you are an urban planner, right? You're a PhD student?
I am a PhD student, an academic, not a practicing planner. No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And how you just recently came back to Vancouver after being in...
About 6 years in Toronto. I've always been back and forth between Vancouver and Toronto, but I'm majority time here now, yes.
Yeah. Are you getting excited about the upcoming civic election? I mean, are you wondering what's going to happen? And
I am really excited. There are a lot of new parties coming to the fore, and I'm excited for people to announce their slates and people to announce who is going to be up against Vision Vancouver. You can't deny that Vision Vancouver is very popular. I think that people really following politics and following these community discussions are very aware of the promises that Vision is not making, is not achieving. So
we're running out of time, Melissa, very quickly. Are you going to be a candidate?
Lord, no.
Well, you've been a very vocal
I am not a
opponent.
politician.
Oh, okay.
I am not a politician.
We've got to get going now, Melissa. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. And people can follow Melissa at Twitter, on Twitter at international at MF, and also her blog, Passionate Rants, Never Dogmatic, is at melissafong.ca. Thank you for being with us. My name is Sid Tan, Access Community Television, where we shamelessly promote our friends and community. Until we meet again, straight shooting and tight edits.